All right, what's up, NDL? The draft is in less than 48 hours. Hope you're excited. I am. I know everybody else that's on this panel is excited too. But we're going to talk a little more in depth. Last episode, we talked about more of a general approach to the draft and looked at kind of the landscape of how the NDL looks with so many teams leaving, who's where. Not a lot of conferences have a lot of, have a lot of teams right now. A lot of for sale signs up at various universities. So this episode, we're going to talk a little more in depth on the team. So teams that have caught our eyes, teams that maybe not so much, in terms of the other ways. They kind of coined earlier fool's gold. Vic will join us here in a little bit, but we're going to start with just me and Doc. So Doc, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Yourself?
Um, Doing good.
Good.
Work is going great. I know it's going great for you too.
Yeah.
So the draft needs to come soon because this is almost like a
That's it.
break for us to give us a nice
Exactly.
distraction. I'm sure it will for many people in the league. But before we actually start looking at teams, I think there was something that you wanted to talk about. We've had a couple of interesting articles get put out over the last couple of days. RB with his way too early top 25, and then the mystery man with the mock draft up to the top 50. It would have been great if it would have went to, I don't know, 59. I think you might have appreciated that. But
I would have, the whole first day type thing, but I mean, at least the team I'm looking at wasn't taken, so I'm happy about that.
fair enough. Then I'm ask which one you want to talk about first. We can talk about both here, tackle both.
Yeah, no, I'm good with either one. Whichever one you want to start with, I'm good with either of them.
All right. Well, I guess let's go in the order that they appeared on the website. We'll start with RB's way too early top 25. So it's interesting because you're with this article, RB put this disclaimer in there. Like there's some teams that obviously are going to be super talented, but you have no idea who's going to take them. And then there's other
Right.
teams that hmm, maybe they're not as talented, but maybe if they get matched up with who I think will take them, maybe that works. Uh, we can definitely all agree that Ohio State would be number one. They're back-to-back champs until someone eliminates him from the CFP, whether knocking him out of CFP contention or knocking him out in the playoffs. I think we can all agree he's number one. But looking at the rest of the top 10, how did you feel about that list? Anything jump out to you?
No, I thought it was Notre Dame not being there, kind of stood out a little bit, but really that was the only one that I thought, and obviously one would have to go, but I was surprised to see Texas Tech there. But again, it all depends. I mean, Texas Tech's is a good team. It all just depends on who gets them and how they work it. But I would probably have flopped Notre Dame and Texas Tech. I'm just surprised not to see Notre Dame in the top 10.
Yeah, I'll agree. That was probably the first thing that jumped out. And I know they're going to get picked in the top 10 for sure. So they're going to find a good home in terms of coach talent. So I was a little surprised not to see Notre Dame up there. One thing that kind of stood out a little bit to me, but I know it's partially because they're losing their coach, is Clemson being ranked number 10. Like I'm so used to El Jefe. Like, yeah, I know out of conference they played Bucknut the last two seasons and wasn't able to get a win. He played Jiggy last season, I believe, too, and wasn't able to get a win. But Clemson has been a perennial CFP team. They've run through the ACC every season. Just last season was the first loss he's ever had in conference play. So I know overall they're kind of taking a little bit of a step back, losing him. But I was a little surprised to see them not a little higher, but I could definitely understand why. Because now they're going to go
Yeah.
to someone who not really is different when you have someone like, El Jefe's had a good run, but also he's a fan of the team, so he knows them really well. You lose
Right.
that, whoever's going to take him is going to kind of have to learn some of those nuances that he already knew by playing with them the whole game cycle.
Yeah, and the other one that kind of stood out was Miami being 4. Now I know we got new ratings, but I was just Miami being up so high. So I thought that that one was kind of, but again, it falls back to who gets them. But I thought that that was a little bit too high for Miami.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Miami and Indiana, those would definitely be two teams to watch. The ratings jumps based on their IRL postseason run.
Right.
They could be a force to be reckoned with, or it could be a job that could have overwhelming pressure that could, you get an early loss and you might start to sweat a little bit in the next handful of games, because those win goals are
Sure.
going to be high. Well, looking at the rest of the top 25, were there any teams that surprised you by where they were in, like whether it was the ranking or just being in the top 25 at all?
Central Michigan being at 25. I know, it's chips there, but I think that again, it's just one of those ones that um is it going to be another good season? Do we have with these early ones, it's hard because are we going to have like people trying to set up and some of the better guys going to a G5 school, and having to play there. And like, that's just kind of one of the ones that it's kind of stood out like what's going to happen. South Florida, like, who gets them? I mean, they have an 8-win goal or something like 7 or 8 wins. They need to get 7 or 8 wins. So that's kind of a tough one too. So those two kind of just, and I mean, I think if all things stay the same, I think Chip deserves to be in the top 25. But it all depends on, like, do we have an exodus of the higher ranked teams for lower ranked teams, and there's a little bit more competition in there. You know what I mean? It's like so much, so much unknown.
100%. 100%. Um, there's one that did catch my eye a little bit, and I thought, and it's in a good way, not definitely not criticizing. Really happy to see Kansas State get some love. I know he's in there at the
Yeah,
bottom of the top
that's a good
25.
point.
Um, Jaguars, Pat's one of my favorite guys in the league. The last two seasons, he's been able to knock him off and get a win. But he's had really solid seasons at Kansas State, and it's like he's played good enough to be in contention, breaking the top 25, but he's been really under the radar. So it'd be nice to see if he could have one of those seasons where he can just, kind of break that glass ceiling and be a mainstay in there. He's definitely got a good squad at K State. Props to him for staying. So now he has the longest Wildcats dynasty in NDL history. Let's see him get in the top 25. Let's see him get in there and stay there. He's definitely talented enough with those guys to do so.
Yeah, Utah too. I thought Utah not being in it, but just being at 20, because I mean they're a good team still ratings wise. So it's kind of being that low. But it's good to see Virginia Tech be in there as well.
Yeah, Chase had a really good season last season, very
Yeah.
quietly, almost made the ACC title game. And another
Yeah.
one of those under the radar, like the couple of seasons prior, not having the success that he would like to have. But, now you've got Franklin as a coach. They're hoping to get some better talent in the next couple of seasons IRL. And he's a Hokies fan, so being able to have your guys and now looking at potentially them being able to have better rosters going forward, he could be one of those guys that could be a mainstay as well. Plays really solid defense, and he's a really fun guy to play and watch.
Agree.
I think one that also stood out to me is the X factor, and that's number 14 with Tennessee, because Vegas has been kind of up and down. We
Yep.
got the explanation in the live chat, like super super cool seeing all this stuff about Shark Tank and the pizza. Um, I had no idea. So reading that day, like that was so cool. I had to show my mom, like, you kind of laugh and call me a dork sometimes because of the the stuff that we talk about in the NDL and all the content we have and everything. But look at this, like guy could be on Shark Tank with this business. Like that's just super, super cool. But when Vegas has been locked in, Vegas has been a CFP guy, period, just point
Yeah.
blank. And
Yep.
they get a little bit of a boost with some badges, and he's got some more free time now in this last season. So I think we could see the best of him ending this game cycle, and he could be a big threat to get to the CFP. Obviously, I know we joke in chat about having to run into Jiggy at some point. But like just the odds are, like just being serious, the odds are like he's had some games against them where he was right there and then a play here or a play there, and then things just kind of snowballed and he wasn't able to get back. At some point, he's going to beat him. I don't know when it will be, but he will have his Cody Rhodes moment. I don't know if it'll be this season, but who knows? We'll have to see. If he's locked in, he gets in the CFP, he could be a tough out. Could be a really tough out, especially defensively. He's really creative in how he schemes up trying to take away a team's best players. Now we have stunts. That's just another weapon to use, so to speak. When you're
Yep.
formulating your game plan. So we'll have to see what he does this season. I'm really excited to see. Was there any team that you were surprised wasn't in the top 25?
Washington State. I mean, because Tim's normally there all the time with that team, so I'm just kind of surprised that he wasn't in there to start the season.
Yeah, I could definitely see that one. One that jumped out to me a little bit, but again, it's hard to tell because it is a really fun read because there's just so many thoughts you have going through your head when you're reading. It's like, oh, well, I wonder who would get this team if this team is slotted here. One
Yeah.
that kind of jumped out to me in terms of a talented team, and you would just have to see the coach, would be SMU. I know Block had him for his last couple of seasons in the league, and he played pretty well there. That's a talented team. They're gonna have a good roster. And the ACC, yeah, Miami and Clemson are probably in the A tier in terms of team talent, but SMU isn't that far behind. They're definitely very viable, especially in that conference. You get off to a good start there with the right coach. Not only could that be a team competing for a conference championship bid, that could be a team competing for a CFP bid as well. So that's one of those sneaky teams to keep an eye on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll switch over to the mock draft. That was definitely a very interesting read, a lot to take in there. So I don't
I thought
know
it was
where you want to start with that one.
I just, where do you see any surprises that if, you know, where this goes down as as you're reading through this in the top 10, what are your surprises?
Um, it's interesting because there's some coaches that I don't know really well, and I say really well, like I've seen Rain play, I've seen Pat play, and I'm not fully sure I have a read on where they may go. Because when I think of when I'm drafting a team, would you draft a team if it's not your favorite team? Do you draft a
Right.
team that extenuates your strengths, or do you draft a team that may cover up some of your weaknesses? I'm just not sure where which direction some people may go.
Yeah. I
If
just like the one that surprised me the most was Pat at Miami. Like it's 6.
That
I don't
that
know,
that doesn't
you know.
surprise me.
No?
No.
oh, welcome in, Vic.
No.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
I think it'd be a great fit, honestly.
I yeah. I just
I'm I'm not surprised because he loves a good defensive line, and they got one of the best defensive
Best defensive
lines
lines. Yeah, that makes
in the
sense.
game. So
But it's such a such a far stretch from Utah. You know what I mean? Like
in a
team
lot of ways.
wise, and
In
yeah,
a lot of ways.
and
yeah, it is. It is a difference from Utah, but uh knowing that he does like a good defense, there's no better defensive line at least than either Clemson or Miami in the game. So
yeah,
And that team is definitely blessed with some speed, and Pat's a really creative guy on offense. The one thing that will be the question mark. So we definitely have a fix because I don't know if you guys knew this. At the beginning of the game cycle at Florida State, Carson Beck had no badges. Highly rated, zero badges. Now you're looking at a platinum sleight of hand, gold step up and on time, and a silver dot. And Pat is very deliberate in throwing the ball like a to me, this is the prototype quarterback for a guy like Pat. He's going to be very accurate, and Pat is very creative in running an offensive scheme. Like it's a perfect match. He's going to get the best out of Carson if that pick does happen for sure.
well,
But I think for me, it's like the top of the draft. I just don't know. I have no idea who Jiggy's going to pick. I haven't been trying to message him. He's been changing his name every day or, every so many hours, various teams, conferences, possibly offering money to get Jiggy to come represent one of their teams. I just like for me, the first three picks, I'm not fully sure where those guys are going to go. Are they going to get a great team? Yes. I just don't know who takes who. And I think
right.
that kind of
yeah,
starts what
that
happens.
yeah, if the confusion starts at one, it's just gonna trickle down throughout the whole draft.
I'd like to think though that Devin and Pirate maybe have been in contact with Jiggy just so they have an idea. So like they won't be caught off guard. They draft high enough that I'm sure that it's like, hey, I'm looking at these few teams. You only have to think about two or three teams, but maybe have had conversations behind closed doors just to have an idea of what way he's looking, so things can kind of fall down from there. Um, I don't know what else stands out to you guys in the top 25. I know one thing that does to
Um,
me, but I'll wait till the end.
uh, what surprises me in the top 20 in the mock in the too early top 25 is Ole Miss not being there, and what surprises me in the mock draft is them saying that Steen will pick Ole Miss at 13. That's an interesting pick.
Yeah, I wonder for Ole Miss with the whatever you want to call this stuff with the appeal and everything with Trinidad. I mean, I'm under the assumption that he's probably going to be playing for them next year.
Oh yeah, he's playing.
So,
He got this good to go. He's playing next year.
and these quarterbacks are going to be 25 playing in college football the way it's looking going forward. It's crazy, crazy world. But him being there definitely, I think, raises their stock for being one of those teams that you buy into for next game cycle because they're good now and they're still going to be pretty solid on next year's game too with an experienced quarterback, which is definitely something you love to have in the SEC having to deal with HFA. Anything else stand out to you, Doc, for the mock draft, at least in the top
Um,
25?
Hawaii at 18. That stood out to me. And there was
I don't
in
think Mich-
Arkansas. And
Go ahead.
Arkansas
I'm
lasted to 36. That was the other one that
sorry.
I couldn't remember the number. And I
Uh,
know, but I thought they would go way before that. So,
they
those
they pro-
that was
they
it for
probably
me.
will. They probably
Yeah,
will. I'm not getting my hopes up. They probably will. Uh, I don't think Michigan is falling to 20. I don't. I don't see them sliding all the way down to 20.
Okay. I can see that because they do have. I mean, I know the quarterback for some may be a concern, but they still have a pretty
a
solid
good team.
roster.
Yeah,
The scary thing, of course, with Michigan is the obvious. You have to play Ohio State, and D Kennedy is on a roll with them right now, so that's tough as a rival game. But they still have a good roster. When under the right hands, they'll definitely be competitive for sure. There's two things that stand out to me in the top 25. Probably going to jinx myself, but I'll say one. The one thing that definitely stood out first is so many teams or so many people getting their favorite team. At some point, someone's going to get disappointed. It's just
yeah,
like when I was reading through, I'm like, oh man, I didn't know he's a fan of this team, or fingers crossed that this guy gets this team. Like at some point, I just feel someone's going to get disappointed.
yeah,
Um, Obviously, I hope not myself, but they not everyone is going to be able to get their favorite team. It never works that way in the draft. Whoever's drafting ahead, they can't make picks based on the people behind them. You're making picks based on what you want to do. So, no, it's totally understandable. The I can't remember what pick it was in. Said this is the Make a Wish draft with so many dreams coming true. Like someone's going to get crushed. Who and how many we don't know. And there'll be some surprises later in the draft with teams that we probably didn't even know this person was a fan of. Like, hey, pick 41. I got my favorite team. Cool. Oh, we even know you're a fan of that team. That's awesome. Or pick 73. So
yeah. I hope
pretty
Chio
awesome.
gets North Carolina though.
Yeah, there's definitely uh, a group of guys that I've got my fingers crossed for that they're able to get their teams for sure. Um,
Mhm.
One pick that did stand out to me though, that was a little bit later on, was was actually within the same group. So picks 41 to 45. I thought those were really interesting picks. Cross going back to the G5 because he had a really good season, first season at UTEP. I got to see him within my own conference. We didn't play, but I got to see what he was doing. And UTEP has a pretty solid offense. That team did have some holes, but he put together a good season. So for him, him saying, hey, I'll stay in the G5 and try to get a good situation now that I have my feet wet in the NDL and try to parlay that into a good pick for next season or, for the season after, I thought was pretty interesting. I also thought D Nazi going to Kansas would be a really interesting fit because he played well at ULM. People may forget had he beat um I can't remember. He lost to someone. I'm losing who it was, but it could have been potentially a three-way
Louisiana.
tie. Yes.
Louisiana.
Because it could have been a three-way tie between him, Southern Miss, and Troy, and they had a round robin of beating each other, like 1-1 against each other. He could have found his way potentially into the Sun Belt Championship. So getting an upgrade
Wow.
at quarterback, I thought
Mhm.
would be really interesting. And Kansas is one of those teams. The Big 12 is a conference that's it's an interesting conference because it seems like you don't have a lot of big names in terms of coaches going there since the exodus from Jiggy Smitty, and I'm forgetting the third coach that was in that conference. He was Vegas in the conference at that time too. I think he might have been, but that was that Big 12 was top heavy, and then now like you had Pat have a great season there last year, great coach of course in the CFP. but it hasn't been like the SEC in terms of, a lot of top coaches going there. So definitely some potential depending on how the draft plays out. If you're able to get Kansas, and with only having to really worry about in terms of team talent, Utah and Texas Tech, it's a nice opportunity to maybe turn that into a really nice pick for season 36. Iowa's interesting always because I feel like who gets them and what can you do with the offense? I don't know because I feel like a lot of people that have Iowa tend to get frustrated because they come in with the plan to do X and it doesn't work, and then you're trying to adjust on the fly. Iowa's just a weird
It
team. Like
never works.
they do have a good roster. They do have some good players in key spots. It's just trying to figure out offensive system that you're able to move the ball with consistently. Uh, So I guess we'll have to see. And obviously, pick 44, that team. I don't like mentioning that team, but it's always interesting because they tend to be rated a little better than they probably should be. No offense to Shador and Travis last year. I thought they were rated properly, but some other players, I'm like, I think you guys are getting some rub. Like there's a CU alum that's on the roster ratings team. So I don't know what you get with Colorado, but again, you're in the Big 12 and there's a lot of area for growth with the teams that you have there. So it would be really interesting. I just don't know. I have to see who goes to the Big 12, but that conference probably intrigues me the most. What group of coaches do you get there? And then what do the mid-tier teams in that conference do? Because there's a chance to be really successful. You could maybe pull an upset against a Utah or Texas Tech and you find yourself into a good position, not just for your season there, but a draft pick for the opening season for next year's game. Anything else stand out to you guys?
I think Kane will do very well at East Carolina if he were to get East Carolina.
And I think Wilds will contend for the American if he gets Memphis.
Hmm, that's can't argue those. I like those too. There's a lot to like for this mock draft. Like going all the way down to 50, like there's definitely some like just reading through, there's some really good teams that I thought match up well with their coach. And then on top of that, there's still teams like, man, this team didn't even get picked. That's still a good team that's sitting out there for someone to take, in the next 50 picks. So there's definitely some good stuff to go around. Well, we'll transition. Those are both good articles. If you guys haven't looked, if you look in Discord in the NDL articles section under Media Hub, you can find the links to them there, or of course going to the website. But it might be a little bit easier to go through the article link from Discord. Because I don't know about you guys, but I might have been one of those people refreshing a lot over the last couple of days on the website. And, the more clicks you have to go to get something, the harder it might be, with the site bogging down a little bit. So that direct link is easy access to get to those. Good reads for sure. Now, let's talk some teams. So, yeah, we don't know for sure NTX who wrote it. I have my guesses. I can probably safely confirm it's not RB because I don't think RB is making two separate lists. That's a lot of work. I mean, sure, he's got some downtime while he's holding the little one, but I'm pretty sure that that second one is by someone else. I have my guess of who it is. I won't say, but um, got to have some help posting the articles because not everyone's assigned to a team. So it kind of works out nicely that way. Got it. The writer anonymous putting an article out there for us to take a look at. But we've had some time to look at some teams, and I don't know what we would really call this segment, but there were teams that kind of jumped out to me in terms of teams that I thought would be interesting to take. I know Doc, Vic, you guys have some teams too that were interesting in terms of whether it is you think they get drafted high or drafted low, but just would be a good fit for someone. So I don't know if you guys want to start first. I can sit back and let you guys jump in and start taking on some of those.
You can go ahead, Doc. You can go ahead and start it off.
No, go ahead. I'm in the, sorry. I should have went on mute, but I'm in the middle. I have to take care of something here real quick. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
It's
No
all
worries.
good. Well, first I'll take a team that's on the list, and that's UTEP. That we have a sneaky team to consider. My guy, Mr. Omaha, aka X Cross, had them last season and did well. Won 9 or 10 games, I believe. They have a quarterback in Skylar Locklear. Has step up and on time badges. They have Kenny Odom, a speedster, wide receiver. Got a good tight end for the G5 and Schultz. The defense is very weary, but that's any G5 defense.
You're not
Almost
kidding
any
about that.
G, almost any G5 defense. Any of these G5 teams that we're going to mention, the defense is suspect. Okay, the defense is definitely suspect. It may be a standout here or there, but the defense is suspect, and it's definitely like that with the Miners. All right, and the win goal is two, and they only have one rival, so that's a doable win goal. Uh, it may go up to four, 3 or 4 with the outer conference, but that's still a doable win goal.
Yeah, give me one sec. I want to add to that real quick. I'm just pulling up the man, got so many people put out so much stuff. I feel like I have like four different spreadsheets of information to look at. I just wanted to get the out there. So their conference goal, they only have one, so it's all or nothing, is to win three conference games. And that rival is New Mexico State.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's not a bad spot to be in.
No, no, that's a very good spot to be in. New Mexico State is to be desired, if we were to put it friendly. They are to be desired as a team. So that's definitely a winnable rivalry game. And like you said, only winning 3 conference games and only having a projected full schedule of about 3 or 4 win total. Perfect opportunity to get a top 20 or top 10 pick.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's picking 41 right now this season, but their ratings have also changed too. So I think the rating change has benefited UTEP going forward for this season more than it was last season.
Yeah, it definitely benefits them more. They definitely got a little boost from um the beginning of season 34.
Who else is on your radar?
I in the conference USA, I had UTEP down. They got a pretty good running back. They got a decent and two decent wide receivers. I think their receivers are 84 and 81 rated, and their running backs an 83. Um, they have a free safety that's rated 85. But after that, then the next best defensive player is a 79 and a 78. So their defense do lack a little bit, but I still think their offense is impressive for a G5 school, and they're kind of a fun team to play with.
Yeah, let me add one thing real quick before we pull up another team. One thing that really jumped out to me about UTEP was it wasn't just the fact that Odom is, really good. He also has everyone's favorite badge. I know it's been talked about with kick returns during the off season with the shifty, but you have shifty and double dip. It's the fact that he's a 93 speed. So just something to think about for people out there that are picking in the G5. You're picking in the second day of the draft. Remember, we always talk about in college football how speed kills, right? How many defenses in the G5 have a corner or a safety, if you want to try to go about it that way, that you can put on a receiver that's 93 speed? Not many do. So you can kind of influence, I feel, how teams try to defend your offense. When you have a speedster like that, it's going to force people to have to sit back. Either their safeties are out the box or you're having to sit in soft zone because you need help to make sure that you don't get beat deep. And what that really does, it opens up the running game, even if you don't have a fast running back. And it also makes it easier to find the ball going to other receivers because now they're not worried about having to try to beat someone in man to man coverage. They're getting to run through those zones too. So basically, that Odom could be a guy that can be clearing space for other guys to work in. So I just think it really lends to creativity on offense, depending on how you use someone with that type of talent, speed.
Another team that wasn't on our list that is a sneaky good team, especially on offense, is Middle Tennessee.
Mm,
They have Amarion Walker, who is a 6'4", 95 speed receiver with the sidestep badge. They also have Middlebrooks, the running back. He has 77 catches, 77 catch rating. I'm sorry. 85 overall, has an 89 speed, but you can work with that, especially being in a G5. And that 77 catch, him catching out the backfield, giving you little 3, 4, 5 yard gains that can turn into house calls is definitely a big deal, especially when it comes to the G5. They have a suitable quarterback with 83 speed and a step up badge. Defenses to be desired, of course, but they do have a 81 overall D tackle and a 78 overall D tackle that has an option disruptor badge. So up the middle, it may be a little hard to run on versus other G5 teams, but that's a sneaky good G5 team right there, Middle Tennessee.
yeah, they don't have a super high win goal, and they have one rival I know it well because it's Western Kentucky. Got to see that up close and personal. I can definitely attest to the running back. Great hands. I mean, he's got hands that are better than some receivers in the G5. So that's definitely very impressive. Those check downs could definitely, like you said, just checking it down for a gain of 3 yards could turn into a big play because of the talent that he has, the mix of speed and power. Anyone else want to add another team in there that they got their eye on as a nice pick?
I have Appalachian State.
Hmm.
Their win goal is 3, and you have an 83 cornerback, rated cornerback who has 90 speed, 91 acceleration, 85 awareness. Um, Kind of nice to have in that area. And you also have a good wide receiver, a good halfback, a good tight end. So I kind of liked Appalachian State.
No, you forgot. They got Smash and Dash.
Yeah,
They got
they got two good running
Ivion
backs.
and
Yeah,
Roberts. They got two good running backs.
yeah.
They got two good running backs. So the ground and pound with Smash and Dash is definitely going to be something, like you said, that receiver and that tight end have your outside threat. So yeah, they are sneaky good teams, especially in the Sun Belt.
Smash, dash, and flash because there's an 84, an 82, and an 80 running back.
Yeah, yeah. There
Then
you go. There you
you
go.
know, so you got the you got a power back and two speed backs. So it's a good team.
Definitely, definitely. What are some teams that you on, Sammy? Wait.
Man, there is one that I am like really excited to see. Now, I feel bad because I feel really bad because I would love to have seen Jeff Daddy stay with how runs his offense at Hawaii. But whoever gets Hawaii is in for such a treat, man. I personally think in the right hands, Hawaii could be a CFP team. That's my personal opinion. At quarterback, you have a guy who can be a pocket passer. He's got gold step up, he's got dot and on time. But also when things break down or just to keep the defense off balance, he's got 87 speed. So you can run some option, or if a play breaks down, he could be able to scramble and pick up a key first down here and there. The only negative is he's a freshman, but he is still super talented and that he's a lefty. I know, Doc, we've talked about that off stream.
Yeah.
Lefties are definitely a little bit different to play with, but if you can make that work, you have a hidden gem to me at quarterback. Then you look at the rest of the offense. You have Barfield at running back, who's got some speed. You have their top three receivers on the depth chart are all at least 90 speed and at least 91, 92 excel. Looking at it, White in the slot, a shorter guy, but the two guys on the outside are 6'2" and 6'3". So you definitely have the weapons in the passing game to be effective. You have a running back that can be effective, not just in the passing game, but on the ground. I love that the offensive line, especially in the interior, they all have platinum pocket shield and play action shield. That just lets you know what you're capable of doing with that offense. You just got to watch the edges, but up the middle, they should be able to hold up long enough for Micah to find someone open down the field. And the defensive line is really good too. Now, when you get to the G5, I feel like one of the things that is a struggle is getting to the quarterback. Like you either have to start trying to send people and exposing yourself. Now, that's the risk you take when you blitz. Can't really run man, so you're kind of limited on what you can do. But man, I just feel with this, if the defensive line is able to control at least the running game and force teams to have to be in third and long situations with the right user, with the right coach scheming behind them, I think that could be a scary team. Now, their win goal is a little bit higher than some of the teams we talked about that are great spots in our eyes. So their win goal is 7. That's before you get into out of conference. But they do have 4 rivalry games and they're all split out. So you don't have potentially 30 points all riding on one game. They're going to be competitive in the Mountain West. Like they're one of the top teams in the Mountain West. They're tied for third in terms of team overall. But in the right hands, let the conference play well with some of those other vets that have been in the conference. With that offensive unit, I think that could be a potential that could be the outlier for next season in the right hands.
Disagree, but lefty though. That
Yeah,
team,
lefty. Yeah, lefty.
they they're
That's a struggle.
fast and that little like wrecking ball of a running back they have, he's really good. And but that lefty, it's a struggle. You're right, Vic. It's a struggle. And that's just kind of like just got to be able to reverse everything. And when I was playing with him, that's what I kept telling myself was like, just reverse it. And I threw more interceptions than um, I probably should have.
So I'll add another team in here. This is definitely um they've changed since the start of last season, I'll say for sure. There's two other teams. I know you're going to disagree with one, Doc, but you just have to go with me for a little bit. So the first one I'm going to bring up is Western Kentucky. Yeah, I know I had them last season. So I got to see their ratings change though over the course of the season, and I think they're a better spot now than they were going into the season. So a couple of things. One, I love their quarterback. Maverick, if you're a pocket passer, Maverick is very accurate. He's had additional badges added to help with on time and step up. So if you're a guy that sits in the pocket, if you're patient, it's rewarded. And it's big because you have a fast group of receivers. You've got Henry, who still is their number one, but then you had a lot of rating changes between the other guys, but still you're looking at going out on the field with four receivers with at least 90 speed. Not too many G5 teams can say that. On the offensive line, you've had two additional guys add pocket shield, with two of them being gold. So that's giving you more time to find one of those guys open. Now, defensively, obviously, as with many G5 teams, you're going to have some issues, but you have Mensa at middle linebacker, who is your prototypical minus robber, your prototypical user linebacker with his speed, got 86 speed, high excel. So you can cover a lot of ground with him. And their win goal is lower than it was when I took them over. Their projected win goal is 4.5. So you could probably keep that at a 5.5, 6. You have your one rivalry game with Middle Tennessee. With that offense, it puts a lot of pressure on people. The running backs, you don't have like really that explosive running back. But again, when you have that type of receiving, wide receiver group that you can put out there, it kind of dictates that the box needs to be empty because the focus is going to be on those guys. The running back should be able to have some success with a less loaded box. Another team that kind of jumped out to me, and this is where we're probably going to disagree, Doc, is going to be Oregon State. So I'm gonna leave the
Yeah.
quarterback alone. I'm gonna leave the quarterback alone. I do like the receivers that they have because you've got
Oh,
the
their receivers.
no
Yep.
go yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, the receivers are pretty solid. You got big size on the outside with some new badges that they can take advantage of man coverage, or, you know, they're going to be able to hold the ball better when getting hit. And then you've got speed in the slot. Their offensive line is better with the last update with the addition of badges. Their defense isn't necessarily great at all. I would argue maybe it's not good, but they have some speed. So if you're one of those guys that can kind of, if you trust your user skills, you can try to get people around the area of the ball and switch on and make a play. Now, the one real drawback for me is obviously the rivalry game against Oregon, because that's a
Yeah.
massive uphill battle. But one thing that you're not going to get with any other team, they are essentially an independent for this season. So you're looking at,
Yeah.
you play Oregon and you play Washington State, and then you have a blank canvas. So you can make your schedule however you want. I mean, Weasel, if you're worried about coach reports, this is your perfect team right here. Interview your coaches before you play those games, problem solved. If you're a vet and you're looking to play vets, problem solved. Like, I feel like it's a good spot on top of, they're going to the Pac 8 next year. So you can lock in a spot going forward to the Pac. We'll see what the roster looks like next year. I mean, just you got to deal with the Oregon game, and I know that's going to be a tough hour. Hey, I just opened up a beer. You might need one or two to get through that game, but I don't think that's a bad pick for someone picking in the mid to later part of the draft that they fall to.
I mean, I agree. But when you look at, their top speed guys on defense, they don't have very many of them. And so, and I was there for 3 seasons. I really enjoyed them. I really decided that, after last season, I'm like, I ain't coming back. But they They're um, the running back is really good. Hankerson, he's really good. He's a tough back. And then Allah I used way more than Hatcher, just because he was just a little bit tougher of a running back, and I was able to spread the ball around. But like Zachary Card, he's kind of like I think he's a 71 or something. No, maybe he's mid 70s somewhere in there, and
75. 75.
75? Okay, yeah. And he's probably the best catching wide receiver on the team outside of Trent Walker. But then like Darius Clemens and David Wells and Taz Reddick, those guys were just fast. And who's the one guy? Durant. He's he's got like 93, 94 speed. He's super fast, but he can't catch a cold. But it's one of those things where like if you find the
Bless you.
right rhythm, and Murphy, if you can start him off really well, then he plays pretty well. But if you throw a couple incompletions, you're done. You might as well just put in the next guy.
It's it's interesting because
I
we
found
don't have any like you have UConn who's off the board. Notre Dame will be off the
Yep.
board early. We don't really have any independence, and I feel like that was always one of those coveted spots in the
It's why I
draft
stayed with them.
because of yeah, because like you get to really create your own schedule, and you don't get to do that with really any other team. There's a hidden few because what there used to be UMass on last year's game, they're not anymore. So man, it's a really cool thing for those that are new to the NDL. Like those were coveted spots back in the day, being able to get an independent team just for the flexibility with the schedule.
The schedule.
Yeah, the flexibility with the schedule is key, but I did notice firsthand. Once it goes downhill for Murphy, it goes downhill.
Yeah, I was just, you can contest to that because
I
it
can.
was because I
And
even
he was
told you
going
in the
good.
game.
He was going
Yeah.
good. He was going good. And then he threw that one pick,
And
and
I
then
said
I
the
got a
game is
deal. Yeah, I got a deal from Doc. Game over.
over.
I said, "No, you can come back. It's just one pick."
Yeah.
he replied back, "You'll see. You'll see."
And the thing is like open receivers, he misses. And like it's unbelievable like how like shook he just got. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe that this is happening because the season before it wasn't like that. And I actually had fun with that team, but then this season I was like, I'm not even coming back. Like after that, I was like, I'm not even coming back.
And speaking of missing open receivers, there's another team that is in an interesting spot. I'll sneak in here. They have a high win goal, and I'll say this is one of those. I'm not going to say this is a sneaky team to consider. I'm going to say this is. I'm curious to see who gets them more than anything else, and that's Tulane. So if you're talking about a quarterback, there aren't going to, especially in the G5, there aren't going to be many quarterbacks better than Jake. Coming over from BYU with all of that stuff, he's still very good in this game. He's an 89 overall. If you're a pocket passer, hmm, platinum step up, platinum sleight of hand, and he still has 84 speed. So it's not like he's just going to sit there. He's not like Tom Brady in the pocket. He's got some movement to him. So he can, if things break down, he can scramble and get some yards too. The offensive line as a whole is good, but I really like what they have at left tackle and left guard. Like you really have two bulls there that you can dictate terms with on the ground to make Jake look even better in the passing game. But the thing that stood out to me because you made me think of it, Doc, those errant passes. You have Westmoreland at right defensive end, and he has one of my favorite badges in the game, pocket disruptor. Pocket disruptor and
Oh, that kid
threat
is so good.
both are gold, which if you guys don't know,
Oh yeah.
that is going to increase the odds of errant throws by a quarterback. So I know Tulane doesn't necessarily have a great defense overall, but they have two really good pass rushing defensive ends. And Westmoreland, if he gets going, that pocket disruptor and duress is going to force that other quarterback. I mean, hey, a 3rd and 5, a guy's wide open. Hey, dirt's it. Overthrow. That could be a pick. That really does matter when you're starting to nitpick on the defensive side of the ball. Like, what can I do with, not having all these great units going around in the G5? A weapon like that could be super impactful. All it takes is just a couple of key missed throws that could swing the momentum of the game. Now, their win goal's high because it's 8, and that's before you even talk about out of conference. And you have a tough rival in Memphis. But if you're someone that likes a quarterback who's accurate and you trust your user skills on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think it's a bad place to go. Plus, if you're talking about drip, and I know that's a popular topic when it
Oh
comes
yeah.
to looking at teams, Tulane's got some pretty nice shirts.
Their city uniforms are the best in football. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh yeah, I love it. Shout out to New
I love the
Orleans.
city uniforms. Yeah.
Shout out to New Orleans. Shout out to Mardi Gras. Shout out to Fat Tuesday that was yesterday. Shout out all of that. I'm agree 100% in agreement with what you said there, Sammy. With Westmoreland, the defensive end, they have speed at receiver. They got running backs that can go, and like I said, they have one of the best G5 quarterbacks in the game. Uh, the only downfall is the high wind goal. That's a lot of pressure. But if you're one of these coaches that may have gotten fired, if they slip that far down, if you one of these coaches that they got fired, or one of these coaches that don't want to fully step up into the Power Four, Tulane is your lane. Y'all like how I just said that, right?
Yeah, that's a nice one. I'll give you a solid. I give you a solid A for that one.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. The last thing that we can talk about is um, Arkansas State. They have a solid running back in Jaquez Cross. Um, have a power running back in Clay. You can use him as well for goal line situations. They got two speedy receivers in Rucker and Cobb, Corey and Chauncey, the two C's. Um, Corey has press pro and 50-50. 50-50. If you're a deep ball guy, he got he got three of the best badges for you. If you're a deep ball guy, press pro can beat press off the line very well. 50-50 jump balls and sure hands can catch almost anything. So if you're a deep ball type of passer, mid to late in the draft. Like I say, one of those fired coaches trying to step back into the big scene in the Power Four. Arkansas State can be the offense for you. They also have a good slot receiver in Summers. Um, not too well of tight ends, and the O line is to be decided. Even though they do have pocket shield and PA shield on the left side of the line, so you can work the passing lanes on the left side if need be. The defense is to be desired. They do have Whitehead at one of the pass rushers that can go, and they have let me see here. Yeah, yeah, just him that can go. I will say this: when picking a G5 team, the one position group that is to be desired and that should go as a premium is the linebacking core. Because a lot of these G5 linebacking cores suck. So if you find one, that's just the honest truth. You can scheme it up. You can always scheme it up. The guys that's been Arkansas State and other G5 teams with bad linebacking cores have schemed it up. So that's a shout out to the coaching. That's something I look at as far as like what a coach would do on the next level. Can you scheme up the linebacking core? Because most G5 linebacking cores suck. For example, since we talking about Arkansas State, their highest rated linebacker is a 76 overall.
Wait, wait.
79, I'm sorry, 79 overall. 79 overall with 78 speed. That is what you're dealing with most G5 linebacking cores. So, um, if you can find a team that has a good linebacking core in G5, please pick them because that position group is to be desired in the G5.
Well, let me ask you guys a question real quick then. We've all been in the G5. You have your backers. I'm probably gonna separate this into four groups. So you have the defensive line, your backers, your corners, and your safeties. Which of the four do you prioritize defensively?
The defensive line for me.
Yeah, defensive
I
line
mean,
because you got to get to the quarterback. If you
yeah,
can't get to the quarterback, you're basically done. And a lot of people, and like I said, if you're done with rushing the quarterback, the linebacking core is to be desired. So they're gonna suck. So that means you're gonna suck because you can't get to the quarterback or play the check downs or the middle of the field because your linebacker just isn't fast enough.
I agree with the D line, and the main reason that I would say it is because I want to stop the run. And I'm just going to hope, especially with this year's game with the broken tackles, that we can flow to the ball and get extra help to get the back down before, after the first stiff arm. I When the defensive line is getting eaten up, then you start to get backs getting to the second level without getting touched, and that's really scary.
yeah,
That's my biggest concern because the pass is going to be difficult to stop anyway. But to me, it's more about stopping the run and making it where as hard as the pass may be to stop, I would much rather deal with knowing all you can do is pass the ball. So as a schemer, I'm trying to scheme away areas of the field or scheme players out the game, as opposed to I have to try to do that, but also still have to acknowledge and deal with stopping the run too. I feel like when you start to blitz to stop the run, bad gap control and your D line getting swallowed up leads to big plays by running backs, and it just is like it just all snowballs downhill. So give me a good defensive
I,
line.
I agree with you. Good defensive line all the way around because even if you have average D linemen, if you got a good D tackle that can stop the run and has like a disruptor badge, then you can do work against the run, and that's gonna help you out. Even though because he can get through the middle as well to attack the quarterback on certain throws or play action and stuff like that. And especially with us having stunts, you can more so scheme your way into a pass rush now in this season with the stunts. But D line for sure. I feel like that's the most prime position. I know a lot of people are going to say linebacker, but I feel like D line because having a pass rush and stopping the run are very key.
Yeah, I know we're not going to talk about this team, but just off the top of my head, I know I can't remember his last name, like living out here, but the defensive tackle for Air Force, Peyton, I can't remember his last name, but he's got a really high rating on the game. I think it's like an 87 or 88, and he's got a couple
I
of
can check for
disruptor
you.
badges. So, like a guy like him would be huge because it just you have to either bring extra help to stop him, which opens up one on one for the other lineman, or it frees up potential openings with the blitz coming through an A gap or a B gap because of the attention that he draws.
Is
Yeah,
Peyton?
he
You're
is.
right.
It's Peyton
Yeah,
Zoric, and he
yeah.
has a bronze option disruptor and a silver outside disruptor.
He's
Those are
one
his
of like
badges.
yeah, he's one of the best D tackles on the. He's definitely I think he's the best defensive tackle in the G5. Now I'm not gonna talk about Air Force because there's other whatever. So I'm just saying just like on this conversation that's just a name that popped up in my head. Well, we talk about some teams that we like. Now, not all teams are created equal. And as we all go through the draft process, there's some teams that you look at like, well, I should be able to pick a team around this rating, if you go best available. And then you start looking at some of those teams like, nah, I can just scratch that off the list. Even if they fell to you, wouldn't even look at them. It could be for fit, it could be for rating, it could be for their um their coach contract, depending on what goals they have. So, what are some teams that jumped out to you guys as buyer beware type teams?
So we did the buyer beware, the fool's gold, the void, if you want to call it. And team number one, now people listening to this live and listening to this back on Spotify or Twitch are gonna look at me like you stupid when I say this first team. But hear me out. Stay with me. Stay with me. The first team we have on the list is Alabama. Why? It's not because of the roster at all. It's not because of the players. It's not because of anything like that. It is because of the schedule. Now, it is a lot of pressure being the coach at Alabama. You have to make the CFP. You got to win 10 games. You got to do all of that. If you're not a coach that can step up to the pressure with that schedule that they have, just go ahead and skip over 'em. Go ahead and pick someone else. If you feel like you a coach, especially one of these new coaches that are trying to step up into the SEC or trying to step up in the big Power Four conferences and teams, and they look at the glass mirror and the glass ring that's Alabama. But then you look at that schedule that has Georgia, that has Oklahoma, that has LSU, that has Vandy on it. Um, that and then Lord knows who you're gonna get out of conference or who want to challenge you out of conference. So if you are a coach that just wants to play it cool and doesn't want to step up to the pressure, then don't pick Alabama because that schedule is hell. And you may go 8-4, 9-3, which is great. That is great. But it ain't great for Alabama. And you'll be in the 50s in the next draft. So that's number one on the list.
Yeah, looking at their rivals, so we'd have to see who gets Auburn, and that could be a scary game. But then you're looking at LSU, and that's Penguin, who just had him last season, so he's going to be more comfortable with them. And then Vegas and
Hmm?
Tennessee.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
right.
not
That's right.
fun. Those are not going to be easy matchups. Definitely will be a challenge for sure.
You can read off number two.
Ugh, I'll let you read number two. You know more about the situation than I do. I just see the team and I'm like, because I know they've been talked about some. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I pick a little bit higher than you guys, and there's been some talk about that team around like up there, so I don't want to talk about him.
Now, some coaches do well with teams and some don't. But a potential buyer beware team. I'm sorry, potential buyer beware team is Arizona. Now, yes, they do have some nice pieces. They do play in the Big 12. Yes. Yes, they do.
That offense looks
But
nice.
I'm trying to tell you, the quest for six is on. The quest for six is on. Meaning it's gonna take a good effort to get to 6 wins, even with that, because their defense is to be desired. They have certain teams, I mean certain positions that play well, and then they have a lot of positions that don't. They have a weak linebacking core. They have corners that can get beat easily. So that is a team you want to watch out for. I wouldn't want. They are a buzzy team. People are talking about their team and everything like that. But I wouldn't want to pick them high. Now, I'm not saying don't pick them in the 30s or 40s or low 20s or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but top 15, top 10, we may want to chill on that one.
That hurts me to hear because
But
that
for
offense looks so nice. But yeah, you're right. Their defense
it
stinks.
does, it does. But when you're throwing a high ball and it goes low and straight to the defender, then you figure it out. Then the next you figure it out. Then don't you? You figure it out. You be like, what the fuck did I do? Um, Number three is Florida, and that is because the same thing like Alabama. They have a brutal schedule. They have Texas. They have LSU. Um, they have quite a bit. They got Florida State. Miami's on the schedule.
Mm.
So they have quite a bit of teams on the schedule that they have to deal with on a regular. So their schedule is always hard. And plus, being a Florida State fan, they're ass. So yeah,
Yeah, I was just gonna let you have that one
yeah,
because I
yeah.
knew.
Buyer beware on Florida. Don't look at what Jiggy did. Please don't look at what Jiggy did and think, oh, I can do that. Whoa, whoa, slow down.
Yeah, that Miami game is going to be extremely tough.
That's the test. That'll be the test for whoever picks Florida. That'll be your bar is against that Miami team. That'll be your bar. That Miami team and then that LSU team. That is the bar. That is basically the season for you right there. Is
Oh,
those two games.
oh yeah, there's something to add. NCX brought up something I had totally forgot about because I remember that at Florida State. I remember that. Their quarterback is short at Arizona. He's 5'10". I could tell you, playing with Tommy, I had to stay in shotgun and pistol because under center, yeah, it's like, oh, that
That's why.
slant's
That's why I
open,
said.
and that ball is sailing like 3 yards past
And,
everybody.
and that's why I said trying to high point or trying to throw a high ball is very difficult with a short quarterback. He's going to throw it straight to the defender. Good luck with that.
And then the other
Um,
thing, real quick, to add about Florida. Now, look, as someone that's played with Florida State for a couple seasons, and we've all watched, Jiggy and Mike with Florida. DJ Lagway is not the DJ Lagway that it was before. Like, I legitimately remember times watching Mike just stand in the pocket, get drilled from behind, and then DJ just like he's coated in baby oil, just shrugs him off. This dude slips off of him, and then he just runs for 15, 20 yards. DJ's not
no
like that
Diddy.
anymore.
No Diddy
So
at all. No
it's
Diddy.
he's still good, but he's not great. And there's definitely a difference between the two when you have to deal with that high caliber list of opponents that you have.
Exactly. That's exactly right. They did take away some of those abilities and some of the heroic efforts from the beginning of the game to this point in the game. Just like they did with Arch taking away a lot of his badges and stuff like that. So it is a different DJ Lagway. It is a difficult schedule.
Justice for Arch.
Good luck with good luck with that. Good luck with that. Number four. The last two teams are G5 teams. Number four is Kennesaw State. They
Hmm,
have they have a pre out of conference win goal of 7. Now let me back that up for you. I said number four is Kennesaw State, and they have a win goal before out of conference of 7. Just
ouch.
think about that. And number five, we have FIU, aka Pitbull School. Another team that's in the G5 with a pre out of conference win goal of 7. And their conference goals are very difficult. Their conference goals are to have 6 conference wins and to finish in the top 3 in the conference. I believe Kennesaw State is right there with it. I
Okay.
can double check right now. But
7
I
and
believe
conference
they're
championship.
for Kennesaw State.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
just a
win
step up in
7
each.
and play in the conference championship. And your rival is Jacksonville State and Louisiana Tech. Those are two pretty challenging rivals in the Conference USA. And winning 7 games at Kennesaw State is difficult enough, but winning 7 conference games at Kennesaw State is almost impossible.
Very little
And
margin
with
for error.
yeah, with FIU, of course, you have the rivalry game with FAU, so you know how that can go sometimes. That can be a toss up either way. But with them having those conference goals of 6 wins, win 6 wins, finish top 3 in the division, uh, with Florida Atlantic as your rival, that could be pretty hard.
Yeah.
That can be pretty hard. So those are 5 teams right there. That's something to think about. When you're in the back of the draft, those 2 teams are something to think about. You're picking 89th or 92 or 77, and you're thinking about who you should pick. You may want to buyer beware those 2 teams because especially if you're a new coach, that's coming with pressure off top. Being a new coach, you're trying to ease yourself into the NDL, you're trying to pace yourself. Having those 2 teams with those lofty goals is putting a lot of pressure on yourself. So you may not want to do that. But if kudos to whoever picks all of these teams, I hope they do well. I hope they prove me wrong. But that's just some buyer beware teams right there.
I have one
Okay.
because we got a lot of the same, but Ohio 7 win goal. So I think that's a tough one for sure.
See
Yeah.
the difference in like FIU and Kennesaw State and Ohio. Ohio overall, with me, I feel like they're one of the better teams in the MAC. As where you have a kind of arms race to the top in the CUSA. You have Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, Louisiana Tech. You know, everybody's battling. So I feel like it's a little bit of an easier path for Ohio.
I'm
Liberty.
curious for Air Force. I don't know they don't have high goals per se. I don't know what their win goal is off the top of my head. I don't have that spreadsheet open, but I know it's just to win 4 conference games and make a bowl. But with the way that offense is built and the way that you have to play with them, it takes a special kind of person to run an option offense and to be able to have success with them. So I feel like you may look at the ratings and be like, oh, this is a pretty solid team that's falling down to me. But are you going to be able to run that offense? And if you can't, would you be able to have success running a conventional offense? I think it's really hard to do with that team. So I think that could be one of those trap teams. If you're not geared as a run heavy guy or a bone heavy guy, however you want to kind of phrase that, that could be one of those teams that could trip you up as well.
You're right on the conference goals. They total win goal is 5.5.
All right, so 6. So basically, got to make a bowl
Yeah,
without out of conference.
yeah, gotta make a bowl. They they have four rivalry games. Army, Navy, of course, Hawaii, and Colorado State.
Well, I have one other question for you guys then. Now, well, obviously we talk a lot of G5. East Carolina is available in the draft. They won the American. Fresno's available in the draft. They won the Mountain West. Buffalo is available in the draft. They won the MAC. Liberty and Conference USA and Southern Miss and the Sun Belt. We know a lot of times when it comes to the draft, you'll look at the team and then you'll look at what that prior coach did with them and the success that they were able to have. Of those jobs, which do you think is the best available and which do you think is the worst?
You can go first, Doc.
I got to
Sorry.
think about that
Yeah,
one.
sorry I didn't prep you guys in advance. I just want to
No,
throw it
that's
on the
okay.
fly.
That's a good question though. Oh,
That is a good question.
Because I know there's a lot of like, like how it is in professional sports. A team wins a championship, and then it's like kind of a copycat. Like we're gonna try to mimic and
You're
copy what
you're for,
they did to
you're
win.
forget you're forgetting one conference champion. Liberty is available as well.
No, I mentioned them too. So I listed all of them,
Okay,
all
okay,
5 of
okay,
them.
okay, okay.
Oh, which one do you think? Like, if you're a coach and all 5 are available, and you had to pick one, which do you think is the best? It doesn't necessarily have to be the best overall team in terms of rating, but just a collection of team situation. Which do you think is best, and which do you think is worst?
name the 5 teams again.
You got East
Hmm.
Carolina, Liberty,
Yeah,
Fresno
yeah.
State, Buffalo, and Southern
Oh
Miss.
man,
Those are all your
damn.
conference champions in the G5. Sorry, Tim. We know that you're in the pack with your 2, but you kept them, so like job's not available, so you have to leave you out of this.
This is a difficult question. I'm not gonna
It
lie.
really is.
Really, it's a difficult
Man,
question.
Well, let me go
So,
first.
you want us to rate them? You rather us
You don't
rate
you,
them or just pick one?
just pick one. Don't have to rate because yeah, that's I kind of not gonna lie, I kind of screwed you guys over coming it up with it on the fly. I'm just listening to us talk.
okay.
I'm
So I
gonna.
would
I'm. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, Vic. Go ahead.
No, no, no. You go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead. You good.
So
You go. I'm
I
sorry.
want to pick East Carolina, but with Luke, I would have to take Fresno.
Now y'all know I love me a shifty, fast running back. Y'all know I love that. Um, So my heart is with Fresno for sure, but I'm going to say Buffalo because the main thing about this question, and shout out to Freak because he did say that in the chat. He did say that in the chat. It's all about coaching, and it's all about who else is in your league. And why I picked Buffalo is because 9 out of 10, unless a group of coaches got together and just was like, "Hey, we just gonna take over the MAC." The MAC is gonna have a lot of newer coaches or new-ish coaches, and they do have some of the worst rated teams in their conference. And with Buffalo being one of the best or the best rated team in the conference, you have an automatic advantage. So I'm going to say that because I feel like some of the better coaches are going to go to the American or to the Mountain West, or, you know, some of them going to spread through the Sun Belt and stuff like that. I think what Big Red did with Southern Miss was a great job because I don't think Southern Miss is really conference champion worthy as far as the roster wise. So I think he did a hell of a job with that team. But if I had to go with one, I would go with Buffalo.
Uh, this is even tough for me because I'm thinking about it as you guys are talking. Like my heart really wants to say East Carolina, but Vicky changed my mind because thinking about the other teams in terms of talent that you have to deal with in the conference, I feel like
Yeah. And
that
then
that's a bit tough. And I'm probably gonna have to hear about this later, but just go with me on this one. I'm gonna agree with Doc on Fresno, and it's for a couple of reasons. Now, I know with Fresno, you have some mainstays in the Mountain West, but one thing that I really do value is quarterback play. And Warner is pretty solid. He's got some solid badges. His accuracy, like I know we talk about, the crosses and drags, whatever, but his accuracy on short throws is 88. Now he doesn't have like, that booming arm, but he's got some pretty solid accuracy. And it's not just the running back because Luke is one of the fastest players in the game. It's that offensive line. I think that's what does it for me. Given that they
Yeah,
are,
that.
yeah, I I respect Hawaii's offense. I expect the talent of Boise, but I think their offensive line will help keep them in those games. And Luke, what he's able to do, or the fear of what he's able to do, will help maybe open up the passing attack. Now, defensively, just do whatever because we've talked ad nauseum about the lack of defense in the G5, and it's going to be tough because Hawaii's offense will be tough to stop. Boise's run game will be tough to stop. But given if you give me that offensive line, uh, one of the most dangerous weapons in the conference, and really solid quarterback play, I think I'd probably lean towards that over those other teams. It's not an easy choice, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably choose Fresno.
And their tight end is pretty underrated too.
Yeah,
Fresno's.
Freak says Luke
yeah,
gets
yeah,
fatigued
yeah,
after 15
yeah.
touches. Well,
Hey, you
you
can
better
spread out
value
those
those
touches.
15.
You can spread out the touches. Trust me, I
Yeah.
know.
Oh, for sure.
Check 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 Jaheim White's stats, buddy. I can spread them 15 touches around. That is
Oh
not a
gosh,
problem.
oh
The
gosh, maybe.
15 touches is not a problem. Those 15 touches is not a problem. Should have seen White stats last season. Not a problem.
That just like sent a
That's why he was
chill.
the Heisman
So I don't know if you
winner of
guys
the G5.
have the chat and the stream open, but Smitty says can't wait to play with Fresno. Like legitimately just felt a chill run down my spine. Like, that's disgusting.
Tell Smitty that ain't a bad pick. That ain't
It's
a
not.
bad pick, Smitty. That is not a bad pick. I see where you can go with that. Cause like I said, you can spread them. Have see, that's the thing. Having a lot of y'all be stubborn. I'm not gonna lie. Not you two. And probably not nobody in here. I know not Freak, because I've played him, and I know not CG, because I've played him a lot. Um, but a lot of y'all stubborn. Y'all want to sub out your running back. Sub out your running back, please. Please sub out your running back. It's gonna do you way better in the end than it's gonna hurt you. Trust me. Sub out that running back.
It depends.
Just do it. Just
It depends. I see
do
what
it.
Freak is
Just
saying,
do
but
it. Your
hear
running back don't need 300 carries.
hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not going to disagree with you on subbing. I'm not going to disagree with you on spreading out the touches because I'm more than happy to use multiple running backs. But I'm also aware when you have a running back that's like that, him being on the field is a threat. And I feel like if you take him off the field, yeah, he's not touching the ball, but I would rather have him on the field just for the potential threat that he might and the influence that it could have on another
He
team's defense. But I'm totally with you on spreading
he
touches
can
for
be
sure.
he can be a threat all day. He's still gonna be a threat whether you take him out for a few plays or if you don't. He's still gonna be a threat. He's still gonna be a threat if you have some of those 15 touches be catches and expand it to 18 touches. He can have 3 or 4 catches a game and spread it out that way. But still, sub your running back, especially when you have a dynamic guy like that. Because once he do turn yellow and then orange and red, he ain't gonna be like that. He's not gonna be like that at all. So you want to keep him as fresh as possible.
Yeah, the
I don't have no fumbles. I
the
don't have no fumbles in doing that.
Freak is the MVP.
Yeah, like I
Freak is the MVP tonight. Dude asked me, I have to keep muting my mic to laugh.
oh yeah, yeah, I got you. I got you. Not sub. I got you.
Oh, Freak. Um, it's really interesting because you have like we've had the and I'm saying this, just hear me out. If you are listening to this, I am not throwing any shade whatsoever, okay? So let me preface it with that. And this is not I'm no shade. So the first name that comes to mind is Phil Moffitt because I had to deal with him at Clemson. And it's just I'm even if it's third and long, the potential that it could be a draw, it makes me think. Or it's third and six, and it affects the way that I call defense.
But see, but see, that's different though. He's a power back. I don't mind power backs getting 20 carries. I don't mind that. It's just the speed guys that you have to really worry about. The power guys, you don't necessarily have to worry about. It's just about the little guys that's speed and all about acceleration and change of direction and so shifty and stuff like that. When you got somebody like Phil Maffa or Genty from last year's game, those are power backs, so they can take a pounding.
Fair. That's fair. Well,
So I'm not necessarily
we
talking
still got
about
to answer
any
the
of the
other
power
question though.
backs.
Which job of those five is the worst? Which would you be like, no?
Um, East Carolina, only because of the potential of the other coaches, and I don't none of us really know that team like Pirate did. That's why I said, shout out to those coaches, Tutty, Pirate, Jet, Big Red, Andy. Those coaches did a hell of a job. A lot of us don't know that squad like he did. So I feel like trying to replicate the success that he had is going to be hard.
Hmm. I'm
I
gonna
would
have to
have
agree.
to. Yeah, I was just gonna say I have to agree too.
Whoever gets like, because you still, we don't know who's gonna coach Memphis, and that's a
Yeah,
really
yeah. It's
nice
all about.
roster. We don't know who's coaching South Florida.
Mhm.
That's a really loaded roster. You got North Texas, Drew Baca on the come up after
Mhm.
last season, so he's definitely going to be, hey, I made a bowl game. I'm trying to get to 7, 8 wins now. Confidence is
Yeah.
high there.
You
Like
got
that,
you.
there's some good teams in
You
that
got
conference.
UTSA. You got UTSA in that conference too. So, which is not a bad team.
Yeah, and then the struggle playing against Navy and Army. Like it's one thing to use them, it's also another thing to try to defend against that. Like that is a really difficult offense to defend. I feel like a lot of people like to play linebacker, and that is an offensive style that can give you some trouble because it forces you to have to stay disciplined. That's tough. Oh, we agreed on that. I was hoping we'd all have different answers, but man, we all got the
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
because it's just all about the level of coaching and who's gonna be um your opponents in that conference. Like Charlotte has all ever since what season 32, Charlotte has done good.
yeah.
So that's another team you have to watch out for. So and who knows who may get them and be good with them. So it's all about the competition. And like I said, no one knew that East Carolina team like Pirate did. So it's like it was a whole different level of he knew the team and he had so much pride because that's his team. So you gonna try extra harder because that's your squad. And trying to duplicate that success is gonna be hard. You just can't think that oh, I'm gonna do the same thing Pirate did. No, it's other factors that went into that.
Yeah. Well,
it's always tough to follow up on a season where somebody had success and that team
Exactly.
always looks better to you because you think, like, wow, they had this success. Maybe I can have some success with them, and then you get them, and then you're like, yeah, no, I should have picked somebody else.
well then. I have two final questions. And if you guys want to chip in anything else, you're more than welcome to. So we're just going to go G5 with this. Which day 2 pick do you think is going to have? Oh, I can't guess you can't go G5 because you don't know if there's going to be P4 teams available. So we know where the line is for day
But
two.
we just say day two. We just say day two.
Okay. So day 2. So you're starting at pick 60. Sorry, Mike. All those coaches that are picking from 60 to the end of the draft, which coach do you think has the best success? Define success however you choose to.
Oh goodness. You
Which
hitting us with the
coach?
question. You hitting us with the questions
Wow.
tonight. You sir
I'm gonna
are an
go first.
asshole.
I'm gonna go first because
Um,
I've already thought about this question. I meant to put it on the outline, so my bad.
oh, you already thought
I'm
about this question.
I'm gonna
Oh,
be a big I'm gonna be a big
all
believer.
right.
Okay, let's change the question then.
No, no,
Except
no.
for
You can keep
MJ
the
Kemp,
question. No, 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 no,
except for
no, no. You
MJ
can keep
Kemp,
the question.
the other
I
picks.
wasn't gonna say him anyway, but you
Okay,
can keep the question. You
okay,
can keep the question.
all right,
I wasn't gonna say him anyway.
okay.
No, no offense, MJ Kim. No offense at all. But I just wasn't gonna say you.
Because we know for sure he'll get a G5 team, but and this is why I kind of thought about the question, rewording it on the fly. Look, I'm an old head in the NDL, not as old as others, because Doc has more NDL years under his belt than I do. I like to see the older guys do well, and yeah, me. I am watching Mike to see who he picks, and I want Mike to have a bounce back season. It's disappointing that Indiana got all their bumps when it was too late, so it didn't matter. So they
That
weren't
was.
what he was expecting them to be, and then on top of it, it's almost like the kick in the balls after the fact, like, oh, at the end, now we're gonna give you everything that you thought you were getting at the end. Ha, sorry. So we know what we're getting now. Nothing else is gonna change. I think Mike, I just have a feeling he's gonna go into the G5, and I think that he is going to wreck shop. He's gonna end this season with vengeance. He's gonna uninstall the game with pride, and he will have a top pick in next season's draft. I'm not sure about CFP because I don't want to go that far, but I think that Mike is going to have a really good season to end out this game cycle. That's my pick.
I'm gonna go last. You go ahead, Doc.
I agree with Mike. I'm with you. I'd like to see the older guys have success, and it was kind of painful to see Indiana and the way it happened for him. So I hope, and I think if he gets a good G5 school, um, I think that he can be the guy that goes up in the playoffs for the G5.
Now, I will say I will shout out a few coaches before I pick mine, of course, because that's kind of what I do. Um, Definitely a shout out to our number one listener, CG. Shout out to Sergeant Zoo, and shout out to Big Mike and Ryan Collins and LSU Mavs man. Love how he plays. Love the style of play that he plays. But my pick, and it's based off one conversation, one topic, and Doc knows what I'm talking about when I say this person. I'm going to go with Weasel, and the pressure is on, motherfucker. Just remember what you said in the committee meeting. Just remember what you said in the committee meeting. The pressure is on. That's who I'm going with.
Do you think we'll
Wow.
get a Weasel Mike game this season?
I hope we do.
Because Weasel
We
picks
need
after
to.
Mike. I wonder if he'll follow him.
We need to. Hopefully he don't pull a block and try to schedule everybody within 5 minutes. Cough, cough. So
All
we
right.
need that. Yeah, we need that.
All right. Well, that was one question. My last question for you guys. What do you think will be the biggest shocking pick of the draft?
Oh,
And
you
it can't be
hit
your
us with these
breaking news pick.
questions.
Can't be your breaking news
No,
pick.
no, 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 no. We're not doing that. We're not
Okay.
doing that.
So
You
just looking at
can
it, who do you think, like, oh my God,
do we have to pick the coach or the team?
whichever. I won't even be difficult.
Oh,
Whichever you
jeez.
prefer.
Oh, Jesus.
And while you guys are thinking about that, I'll update you on the chat. So Smitty thinks it would be he says, I mean, how many big dogs are going G5? Think it could be interesting seeing if we get more of the elite coaches or the B+ coaches going down there. And, I said maybe even get two bids in there. Like it'd be cool to see
I I
how
know
things
Smitty's.
battle out in the G5 for sure, especially if you have more top teams there.
If you, because I know Smitty is listening, I'm all with that idea that Sammy just said. All the top coaches going to the G5. That'd be so much fun. That'd be so much fun.
And then Freak, while he's posting all these hilarious stuff making us laugh, he says his picks would be Sargent and Drewski having the most success day two.
I can see that. Like I said, I did shout out. The shout outs are the coaches that I feel like are gonna do well. So I do feel like he is gonna do well. I do agree with that. If do you have your pick, Doc? Because I don't want to overstep you.
No, I said Big Mike that for
No, no,
that.
no. I'm talking about for
Like the,
surprise
the
pick
surprise
and
pick of
team
the draft.
Oh, the
surprise
surprise.
pick.
Okay. Jeez. So I don't know. It would be so. It's so hard to because you just. I don't have an idea, but I think that um yeah, I, you guys got me on this one. I don't know.
Uh,
I
I feel like I give you two. I give you a power four and a G5. The power four, and this is based off the mock draft, so I guess it's gonna shock people. But I feel like Jumper is gonna pick Oklahoma State.
Hmm. And
I
I
feel
could
like
I could
he's not
understand
gonna.
why.
Yeah, I feel like he's not gonna shy away from his favorite team.
man,
So, and according to the mock draft, that's if he did went that way, that's gonna shock some people. But I feel like and we talked about him. We did talk about him. I feel like Tulane is gonna go top 25.
Hmm.
If I had to pick somebody, because Freak in the chat kind of put me on the spot,
that's
I would
actually
go. I would go with. I would go with your boy Duvid taking Tulane at 19.
Okay.
Duvid or Knowles, 19 and 20. I feel like those two would pick Tulane, and I feel like Tulane's gonna be in the top 25. FSU is not in the draft, buddy. Trust me, I know. Um, but yeah, that's those are the surprises right there. According to the mock draft, I feel like Jumper's not gonna pick who they said he's gonna pick. I think he's gonna pick his what his heart wants, and his heart wants Oklahoma State. And I feel like Tulane is gonna be picked in the top 25, most likely at 19 or 20.
Yeah.
I think if I had, I mean, as I think about this now, I think there's a team that Rain wants, and if for some reason Notre Dame falls back, I think he would take Notre Dame back. But I think there's a team out there that he wants. But I think if Notre Dame were to follow him and that team were to be gone, I think he would go back to Notre Dame. So that would be my surprise, just because a lot of people don't go in the draft to just redraft their team. But I think that, you know, Notre Dame being his team, I think that that is going to be something that he might go back and do. So, I mean, to me, that would be a pretty big surprise. But I think, um, as far as the G5 goes, I think somebody is going to take Fresno pretty early. And I don't know who that's going to be, but I think somebody is going to take them pretty early. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere in the top 30. And but who that would be, I don't know. But I just think it's one of those teams that I think somebody looks at and goes, you know what, they got a really nice running back. Just like you said, they have a nice quarterback that can throw the ball a little bit. And I think that would be my surprise with Fresno going in the top 30.
Well, I'm gonna start with the G5. I think that Hawaii goes in the top 20. I think really highly of that team, and yeah, I know with the left-handed quarterback, but if that's something that you can deal with that offense and with the not necessarily the coaches, because no knock on IROC or Rain, Black Rain, Big Z, but Hawaii's offense in the right hands was going to cause a lot of problems for those teams in the Mountain West. I was saying it earlier. I think in the right hands, that's a CFP team. I think that a really good coach is going to take them early.
Who do you feel like is gonna take it? Put a name on it.
I'm not sure on that one. That
Yeah,
one I
it's
don't
one
have
of
an
those.
answer for because I'd have to. I just feel they'll go early, but I can't put a name on who would take them. But I could see the like if you're like yeah, we're all playing for fun. We're all here to have a good time. If you're looking at, man, I'm trying to get back to the CFP, or I'm trying to get in the CFP for the first time and, have that breakthrough season. I feel like Hawaii's a good spot to go to because they are a good team within the conference they're in. And if you schedule out a conference properly in the right hands, I think you could have a lot of success there. So whether it be, a team that a coach that has been playing in the Power Four and wants to take a step back and go down, and have like somewhat of an easier, a less stressful season, I guess we'll say. I mean, it'll still be stressful because it's not like their win goes low, but you know what I mean. It's different being a team like a top SEC team or Ohio State versus being a top G5 team. It's just not that stressful, even if the goals are still high for that G5 squad. I think that could be really enticing to someone because it may be seen as an easier road to try to get into the playoffs. Like, yeah, still trying to see if a G5 team can pull off that upset. But in order to have a chance to win, you have to have a ticket. And that might be seen as an easier route to get there. From the P4 side, there's a team that I think that's going to fall, and they're going to fall more, maybe more than some people expect. And I think once someone gets them, they're going to end up being a solid team. Just debating on which one I want to go with. Uh, I think SMU is going to fall outside the top 25. I don't know why I feel that way, but I just do. And I think someone is going to be able to buy up in getting SMU and be able to have an opportunity to have a really successful season. I like the team, but I don't know. I just get the feeling with some of like where some people are potentially looking, some people may be looking at their favorite teams that it's not even on, like they're not even on the radar for some people. And they're going to drop a little farther than their rating would dictate. And someone's going to be very happy to have that team drop into their lap.
How far down you think they're gonna go?
Oh, now that's a good question.
Because, like I said earlier, I don't see a team like Michigan dropping to 20. I just don't see it.
I
That
Yeah,
defense is
I don't see
way,
that happening either.
yeah, that defense is just way too good for them to drop to 20.
It's interesting because I look at SMU. So let me pull up something really quick. I look at SMU and got 9 conference games in the ACC, right? Or is it 9 or 8? Can't remember.
There's 8 conference games.
Okay. So you have to go 6-2 in conference. They are the fourth best team in conference. And you have to finish top four. Now, I do like the rivals because I think that those are favorable matchups. No offense to the teams, but Cal can be sneaky with that offense. Stanford, I think, isn't equipped to, hang with SMU. And then TCU, they're a solid team, but I think the lack of defense is going to be an issue in that matchup. I just feel like I think it's a good team. Like I think it's a good team for sure. I just feel like when you get to the draft, it's not always about picking the best team available. It's about there's other things that factor in. You could be picking your favorite team. You could be buying in for next year. You could be just looking at, hey, like this is the last season this cycle. I want to put myself in a position to get a top team for next year. So you could bypass good teams to look to prioritize a great situation to give yourself that opportunity. I think they're one of those teams that, while good, I just don't think people will be like really like they're not at the top of people's boards. Like they're just not there because I feel like as you start to go down in the draft, it's other things besides the best team available become more of a factor. So I think they might slip through the cracks.
Well, I'll say this, and this is why I went the opposite way. Um, they're not gonna slip through the cracks after that explanation.
Well, it depends. Because what may
I mean,
seem
people do
appealing,
watch it. People do listen to us, Sammy.
well,
People
I'm just
do
saying, what
listen.
may seem appealing to, like,
And you make perfect sense. Like everything you said makes perfect sense.
all it takes is one. That's all it ever takes. All it takes is one. But there's definitely some teams, like, I don't want to start and look like going down my draft board. So I actually made a draft board for what my actual top 15 teams would be. And I can tell you, it won't go past five. It honestly probably won't go past three. There are teams on the board that I put on there because, like, man, who's already in that conference, who I heard might be going into that conference, and what it looks like going into next season. Because I'm more of a mercenary for the most part than a dynasty coach. Like my dynasties are very limited. I think I've kept 3 teams more than one season, one team more than 2 seasons. So if as someone that tends to bounce around a lot, it's one thing that I tend to prioritize the situation and who else I'm playing with. This was rare for me to go into, like, I was the first person in Conference USA. I don't think I've ever done that before, and I was very nervous about it. I'll be honest. I'm very happy. as I said in the Conference USA chat, we had a great group of guys, but I'll be very honest, I was nervous about the potential of facing a bunch of new people because I don't know what to expect for people that are playing in their first season. And we had a great group, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the rest, like as everyone branches off, what they do. But man, it's sometimes it's fun to just be like, hey, I'm just trying to set myself up for next season. If it goes well, cool. If it doesn't go well, cool. We'll just roll the dice and do it again.
And I think a lot of that too goes to like the team that you pick. Like so you have you pick a team and you may not be successful with them, but you wouldn't be mind stuck playing with them the following year if you were in a spot where, well, I needed to get 72 points and I got my points, but you know, I I didn't hit my win goal or anything like that. But you get your 80 points and you're barely making it and you know that you won't get a very good pick, but you're pretty happy with the team that you had. I think that plays a lot of it too.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what am I going to be stuck with the following year if I don't
Yeah,
go back in the draft with a good
and
score?
to your point with SMU, they're gonna make sure that they're gonna have a quality squad. A lot of that team did not go anywhere in the portal for the second straight year. So they're going to be a talented team. They're going to be a lot of trendy picks in real life to win the ACC next year. So, but we just talked them up all the way. So they're probably going to go in the top 10 now. Yay.
pick number two. That's a
That'd be funny.
well.
Devin selects SMU. What?
So I have like two separate conversations here. Um, there is one other thing that I have to say before we end. I'll let you guys have the final word. But before we end, so just so everyone knows, just a quick recap of the draft. It's going to start Friday night at God 7 p.m. Eastern. Got to get it right. Got to get it right. Oh man, I'm losing my mind right now. I need to go back to sleep. So it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Him, Lick, and the rest of game day will be running the draft Friday night for 3 hours. So 7 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on stream. So we'll all be there. Freak and others, will be contributing behind the scenes to help, the runners, so to speak, tagging people, getting them up so we can make sure that we can get these picks in. If you're available, make sure that you reach out to someone in the media to get you on so you could discuss your pick, why you picked them. If you want to give some information to as why you wanted a decision and you can't make it there, definitely contribute that as well. We'll try to get through, or they'll try to get through as many picks as they can. And then Saturday, starting at noon Eastern, Doc, Vic, and myself, IROC will be on two. We're going to pick up from there and we will run through the rest of the draft. So you have 5 minutes for your pick. If you're not sure if you're going to be there, if you go to the NDL site and go to the blue bar under the picture that's there of Ohio State, it'll take you to the draft. You click the blue button at the top of the order to go to my draft list. You can create a draft list. So if you feel like you're not going to be able to be there, you can submit a list. That way, at least you'll know you'll get one of the teams you're looking at. So I'm excited for the draft. Everyone else is excited for the draft. It's going to be a fun time. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of storylines to talk about going up to it. We already have a bunch coming out of it. We'll have more. So really, really looking forward to it. Make sure that you guys are there. It'll be a great time. Vic, Doc, I'll let you guys have the final word.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
looking forward to it. It's my first draft in a while, so I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for what team is gonna drop, what team is gonna rise up, and what G5 is gonna get picked early. And I'm excited for it all. I'm excited for day two, of course. Day two is the best day. Like, come on now, it's us. But um, and day two is gonna be interesting because we're gonna have a lot of those fired coaches to start it out. So that's going to be interesting to see where they put themselves in position for.
All right. Well,
But 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. on the West Coast,
but,
5 p.m. in the Rocky Mountains.
we'll see you guys then. Good luck to everyone. Hope your dreams come true. If they don't, hope you at least have someone that you'll be excited to have.
You get the team you want, that's for sure.